getting close to Christmas, and this is my family's holiday, mostly Christmas, soufflé. We have it at breakfast. It's been a tradition going back 40 years, and it's really yummy. Sit back, and we're going to make it right now. The first thing we need is a frying pan, medium heat of course, and I've already pre-done this. This is a pound of bacon sliced up into smaller pieces. And there it is, all nice and cooked. We're going to set that aside into a nice bowl. That's 1 pound. Next up, I've got some breakfast sausages. It's only 4. Chopped up, and we're going to cook them. You could do either or. I was just busy doing other stuff, so I figured let's just cut them up and throw them in the frying pan. So we still have the grease from the bacon. I'm going to fry it up in that until it's a nice, golden brown and nice and cooked. Don't you love it when it's sizzling like that? And there it is, nice and golden brown. Let's take it off and put it in a bowl. Next up is onions. Now I've already chopped it. That's about 1/2 a large onion, chopped up fine. We also need some mushrooms. Drain them, of course. We'll put them in a nice container till we need them. We'll set that aside. How about a pepper? I didn't have a green pepper. Yellow will work just fine. And you can chop it up as big or small as you want. And there it is, just like that. Let's put that in a container. We've got everything we need. Let's put it all together. We've got a tin foil pan we're going to use, and a loaf of bread, and some cheese slices. You'll need both of them, probably about a dozen each. So here's our bread we're going to work with. And for this recipe, it calls for decrusted. I've also got some melted butter we're going to use. So first thing we're going to do is decrust our bread. And I'm going to use all the crusts for stuffing. It does make quite a bit. So by the time I'm done slicing everything, this is what we end up with. A pile of bread crusts for stuffing. So our bread's ready to go. Let's get this stuff into a pan just like that. Like I said, that's for my stuffing for another day. We're going to take our bread, and we have to butter both sides. And I'm trying this kind of for the first time. Rather than waiting for the butter to soften, throw it in the microwave for 30 seconds, get a pastry brush out, and I can now butter both sides. And I've got it on an old baking sheet, mostly because I'm not going to get butter all over my table or whatever. It's just on the pan. I can throw it in the dishwasher. We're good to go. So this way I can butter both sides and I don't care about it leaking into the next one. And that's what we're going to do. Now when I make it, I just do one side. And I think, you know what, I'm going to put a link below on how I make my souffle, which is a little different than this. So I only butter the one side, but this will work just as well. So I've got almost all the bread done. It's enough to get going on. So let's build our souffle. And there's our pan. Our first layer is our bread. So we carefully put it in the bottom. And you want to make sure it's fairly tight together. And what I'll do is I take the slices of bread. Normally if I keep the crusts on, they would probably be touching each other right now, but I have to modify it a bit. So you need a butter knife because you're going to have to cut some of the bread into pieces, and then it's just like putting a puzzle together. So I cut that middle slice and then use the other half for the side. Now we're going to put some cheese on, cheese slices. And I cover up all the bread. You don't have to get that precise with it. 6 slices would probably cover it with a little bit of space. It'll still melt onto our toppings. So that's the mushrooms, all nice and spread out. Next up are peppers. And then ever so carefully trying to spread them around is our breakfast sausage. Of course, a whole bunch of onions. And then last but not least, bacon. Yum-y. And there you go. I had a couple extra pieces of cheese, so I threw that on, and the top layer of bread. So we need to soak this. It's 2 cups of milk. If you like it a little mushier, throw in 3 cups of milk. And that's your choice. It just depends on how you like it. I like it a little mushier. If I was making this, I would probably put in at least another half a cup. But we got the 2. That's what the recipe calls for. Now we need 4 eggs. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's 2 tablespoons of mustard powder. Your call. You can go less, you can go more. Now it is easier if you took the 4 eggs and mixed them up ahead of time, even along with the mustard powder, and then dumped it into the milk and mixed it. Whatever you'd like to do. Now the reason I said a little more milk is because we have to coat the bread. So we want to completely coat it. And yes, it's going to soak down. And that's okay, because we're going to let it sit overnight and really soak into all the bread. And you want to make sure it's all covered. You don't want any dry spots. So that's what I'm kind of checking there, just to make sure the edges are moist enough. Cover it up with tin foil. And we're going to put it in our fridge till tomorrow morning. And here we are. It's morning time. I'm hungry. It's breakfast. So we got a couple finishing touches to do. I take the lid off. Yeah, it doesn't look a whole lot different. But we need some of my buddy Kevin's favorite, cream of mushroom soup. And that goes on top. And luckily I got the soup that actually is runny. Sometimes it comes out like cranberry sauce in one big can thing, and then you got to kind of mush it around. This one was so much easier to work with. Just spread it around as even as you can. Now this is optional whether you want to keep the lid on or not. You don't have to. If you don't mind it being a little crusty on top, leave the lid off for the whole cooking. We're going to bake it at 350. This is halfway through. About 25 minutes. I want to take the lid off so I can kind of keep an eye on it. And you can see it's not completely cooked yet. We're going to go back in the oven with it. And this is about the 45-minute mark. So you can see it's starting to puff up. And it gets a little higher. You know it's pretty well done there. I could have left it in for maybe another 10 minutes to kind of give it a little more done with the cream of mushroom soup, but I think this will work just fine. We're going to take a knife, slice her up, and get us a nice piece for breakfast. Yum-y. Just like that. And you can cut them small too. I'd say I got some baby pieces. Just in case somebody doesn't want a huge piece. I do, however. And we're going to carefully get it out. Now notice how clean that came out. It might have been a little mushier had I put the extra milk in. And once again, it's your preference on what you want to do. It's on a plate. It's warm. It's ready for breakfast. It's great for the holidays. It's been a tradition in mine and my family's house for years. And maybe yours too. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.